primary purpose of the brain is to keep the body alive. And everything else follows from that. Even the ability to control movement follows from a more fundamental imperative to keep the body alive. So when the brain is perceiving the internal states of its own body, things like blood pressure and heart rate and oxygen content of the blood, things like that, it's not that we need to know what they are. It's that we need to regulate and control them to keep them within tight bounds compatible with our continued physiological viability. And it turns out that predictive models that are geared towards generating predictions and that can be updated by prediction errors, are very good ways of controlling systems. And this is a lesson that comes from engineering. It comes from this whole branch of computer science and engineering called cybernetics. We think about simple controllers like feedback mechanisms that take an error signal and use it to modulate a control signal. Central heating systems work that way, right? It's too hot, you turn the AC on. It's too cold, you turn it off, turn the heating on. Our brains can be thought of as massively updated central heating control systems in this sense, because they not only react to the current state of the body, they anticipate its future needs. And the only way to do that is to have a predictive model of how the overall situation of the organism, what's going on in our environment, what's going on in the body, how that's likely to affect our physiological viability. There's a word in biology called allostasis, sort of stability over time rather than stability in the moment. And so the fundamental role of the brain then is to develop and deploy predictive regulation of the body itself. And what's the perceptual content? In the same way that if my brain is developing and deploying predictions about the causes of sensory signals, I have a visual, from the eyes, I have a visual experience. But if the brain is deploying predictions that are geared towards controlling the interior of the body itself, I'm not going to have a visual experience. I'm going to have an emotional experience, or at the very deepest levels, I'm going to have an experience of just being a living organism.